easy go.
Push solos, be able to hide your way through. As you can see, the trophy stand moving into our last day of the losers bracket.
Yep, and we definitely have, I believe the Sonic's still in there. I think last time I checked, their PGIS one might be in there, or maybe they got replaced. Who knows? But, I mean, Sonic's is another conversation, even though they're not even playing today. They've been really phenomenal.
I did get a kick out of the fact that we were hanging around 2 of our games yesterday on Erangel at school, the other one at Everest. But we were right next to where that trophy used to be, because didn't that statue also for a period of time get switched over to, like, wasn't there something going on?
I'm not sure. You might be right, but I'm not sure.
It was a long time ago. I'd have to remember. I know the fact that we had it down in military base as well. But anyway, as we're going to be moving forward, you can see pretty friendly playing path, no big surprises. So simple shifts out for most of our teams. They should be pretty cemented in off of their drops over here, not having to do anything too crazy to get everything. And this is kind of the good warm-up drop, right? This is what you want. You want to move in. You want to start the day comfortable and then try to navigate out of it. But we do have the potential for a military-based circle. We do have capabilities going back north. And again, we saw a lot of school yesterday, and that's also right along this playing path.
Yeah, the fact that we had 2 back-to-back school games was pretty wild, and 2 very different end games as well as we looked at those.
I'm a little mad because I was casting with you and it's like, I haven't gotten a school game in a long time. I would really love to get one. And then you and Toby get 2 back-to-back.
We did. But yeah, looking at the plane, as you said, no early drop contentions here. I mean, none of these teams at this point are going to want to do that. They've already established this. The circle is going to be centered up, just around that volcano area to the east of school. It very well could pull school, Matt, so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for you yet. But yeah, quite a bit of the Yoss Lake in as well. I'm
going to kind of lean back as we knock on some wood here, as we haven't seen a lot of very big urban endings. School kind of counts as one of those.
This whole event, yeah,
It's been something that's kind of missing, and with Yasnaya being pretty centered up in this, it's going to be where I kind of keep drawing my eye over to, specifically the fields around it. We know that can get very Mad Maxy as people have to send their way just crazy sins just down into position trying to make some type of landfall in there. So as we move forward, we still also have Stalber, the 50-50 with the river, but really it's kind of more like a 25-75. But circles can be cruel at this event.
They can. I'm actually really interested to see if this one will shift east, right? We haven't kind of landed a circle where we see J compound above Mansion in quite a while. And that area is actually really fun to find. I think we saw one group stage circle in there.
I mean, I'm fine with Death Road too. I really enjoy
you like Death Road because you're a terrible person. Playing in that area, as we saw, can be very dangerous. As David doesn't have any. Just clicking his shotgun there.
And just keeping his fingers warm. That's all.
Yep.
Just running around. I mean, this is hospital. Nobody's around here. GP's on the northern area of George Bull. That's going to be about it. Forest hanging up around Zarky. That's going to be where we're seeing everything shift away from. Never ever going to go back that direction. But outside that, really, it's just kind of our southwestern and western teams in general that are going to have to make some type of rotation. Even Esports Arena could come in from that eastern bridge. We don't see anybody that's making a dedicated camp around that area. DDT moving down into Milta proper, but that's just for some looting.
Yeah, everyone at this point is spread out and set up pretty much where they want to be. As we look at, actually, most teams are even set up in the circle so far. You see quite a few trying to make it towards the center. Friendly Fire being one of those 4 a.m. You see Crazy starting to kind of flex out as well. As we look at Tai Lu just peeking across the Twisted Mines. And I do even have to say that I like LG's position here currently. They're going to be on the north side in Stalber. They have quite a lot of room to work with, and they pretty much have the entirety of the east to themselves. So curious to see what they're going to do with all that.
The Sarvep had themselves an interesting day yesterday. They navigated circles, managed to get into the late games. That's rewarded them with being in the top 8. Not in a comfortable position in the top 8, as they are just about 4 points away from, well, closer to about 9 points away from that cutoff point. As right now they have a couple of teams that are going to be chasing after them. So with this, we might see them, you can see, doing their thing, rotating early, trying to move a bit more centered, as that had a lot of success for them yesterday.
Yeah, and I will say, Toby and I specifically were quite critical of Sarvem's play, especially with how passive they had been. But over the course of losers bracket, they've actually flexed out and been much more aggressive. I mean, looking at their results so far, they had one bad game, a 16th place with 0 points. But they even have a 7th with a couple kills, 7th place with 5 kills. So yeah, they're definitely starting to be a little more proactive, and they should be, because that roster is solid. Even though yes, they don't have as much LAN experience, they've proven, especially online, that they can be a force to reckon with. So seeing them get proactive and kind of taking that on the chin, it's been great. So I'm rooting for the boys.
Saw the Expendables there for a second. You're speaking of forces to be reckoned with. That's one that always I got to keep my eye on during these earlier stages, as we do see 17 as well as Twisted Minds getting kind of close to each other. They're sitting back along that school route, as I mean, why wouldn't you? This is kind of where we saw Twisted Minds have some successes at yesterday. 17 doesn't have to make too big of a jump out of that Pachinki area.
Yep.
And so now it's more a, I guess, kind of sit and wait situation. We got a lot of people hanging out around Potato itself, just kind of waiting to see. Everybody's assuming this is going to probably go into that southeastern area, but these circles, man, who knows? Northwest, why not?
Yeah, I mean, they've been quite hard shifty, so to speak, but it still surprises me with how even the playing path has been that none of these teams find themselves in the east. Again, it's only really going to be LG rotating in from the north side there from Stahlber that are going to find pretty much any of that open space, but the east is great to play from here. You have great footholds for rotations, great holds, especially if you're going to be somewhere around that mansion area, even obviously, Sky Garden, Heaven, whatever you want to call it. A lot of those areas are still very much open, and I think it is a case of what you were talking about, where some of those teams kind of assume there's going to be someone there already, so they're not even bothering to go that direction. But yeah, especially if this hard shifts east, that's going to make it very interesting, as I think a lot of teams are going to find some open space that they didn't really think would be there.
And I think everybody has a nightmare around playing that mansion area at some stage, whether it be before it had the forest appear or afterwards. So sometimes
before the forest appeared, Matt, let me tell you from experience, there was absolutely nothing there.
And I think that's one of the reasons, like, there's still some carryover mindset of let's just not go there. That is the bad place. That is where we go to die. But LG going to go ahead and exploit that. It does look like they get themselves having to work around. You can see that DDT also bumping into Petrichor Road. This is going to be down in the south, right along that Milta pathing. Esports Arena already has 2 coming over from military base proper. Day Trade and D plus Kia really being our only teams not yet inside the circle.
Yeah, and Day Trade is going to be coming in from the southwest. I mean, they have a pretty free rotation here to Pachinki. Obviously, 17 no longer being there, especially at this point in the first circle. So they're going to have a good rotation in. I'm just curious what they're going to be able to do with it, as they've been struggling. And speaking of which, starting off the day, Uba will find 777 from the Expendables.
That aggressive moving that we can see the Expendables do being exploited this time, as it is going to be Na'Vi that finds a good beat into them, hits the shots, going to go ahead and take down 777, who's been a pretty decent workhorse for the squad. Not necessarily the face of it, but somebody that's been really good about making sure to support a squad and making sure to give them the opportunities to really succeed.
Honestly, I don't feel like, usually a team has a superstar, and I think Tanvu has really been one of those here for the Expendables, but all 4 members of that team have been fragging effectively, right? It's not just been one person to carry the torch for them. It's literally been all 4 members of that team just being absolutely amazing. Delwyn, Tanvu, obviously Duck Juice, another player that's just been stealing kills effectively left and right on top of just winning his gunfights, right? The Expendables have come in here and really kind of proven that they not only belong, but they can excel in these lobbies.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we are looking at the lower bracket itself, we do have Twisted Minds, the Expendables, Na'Vi, 17, presently our top dogs inside of it. That says something about this event in general, I think, just in and of itself. And so as we're going to be moving through these next couple of rounds, it's no surprise that this is a very calm first game. Yeah. It's the way that the circle has kind of laid it out. It's like, okay, you don't have to make any of the big gambles. You don't have to roll the dice yet. Just try to play clean and don't let somebody exploit a mistake. And that's kind of all that happened with the Expendables right there. They just extended a bit too far, lost 1 member, and instantly pulled on.
And yeah, that area that we see Na'Vi, that kind of the yellow building there just to the southeast of apartments is fairly popular for teams to camp, especially because there are some rotations that come through there. So I think they just got a little too close, but you were talking about it. A lot of these teams know, yes, they're going to be able to find themselves a nice position in the circle for now, or at least a foothold, but it becomes very difficult, especially if this does do like a hard shift north, for instance, or a hard shift east, as we're talking about, is now we do see Iridium going there, that the rotation after the first circle will be where they're potentially in the most danger.
And let's keep in mind, we're looking at the lower bracket. Top 8 go on, bottom 8 go home.
Go home.
That's one of the reasons why this is so much more of a mental game that we're looking at right now. This is making sure the fact that you start your day off, you get that momentum. We talk about it because it's true. If you can get up a couple of points here or there, put yourself in a bit more of a comfortable position, it takes the pressure off of those later games as we're going to be moving into Tego, into Miramar. Right now, we know everybody knows Erangel. It is so, every dip, every little bit, nook and cranny, everybody's got it navigated. So this is the stage where you're playing methodical. As we're going to be moving into the later stages of the day, it's like, that's when the wheels come off. You're like, okay, now we've got to make a play. We didn't get it earlier. We've just got to make something happen right now, and it's going to be Expendables. Belmoth finding the shots into that one, and he needed it, but he's also going to go down. Quick exchange between 2. Tanvu, the last one now up for the Expendables, taking some shots, seeing if maybe he can scare away Day Trade, but Flash trying to defend this one.
Yeah, Tanvu now in a world of trouble. He is going to at least get the point from Belmoth. Again, not a great start here for the Expendables. We kind of saw this the other day as they were able to kind of course correct later, but I mean, a decent start for Daytrade. Losing one isn't ideal, but they still have 3 up, and at the very least, they got themselves a nice little rotation here as we do look at the circle, and of course it shifts north, and it keeps all of Yastlake still in, Matt.
Where's the worst place for the players to go? That's where the circle's going to go. That's just been the theme. So all these teams that are playing down to the south going to have some trouble, specifically along Death Road that we're looking at right now with Petrichor Road and Daytrade, realizing, okay, this fight is not worth it. Petrichor Road already retreating, looks like they're trying to regroup. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of long wraps around the north, but this is a complicated northern wrap. Sure, nobody's up in that top 50%, but that's because there's a barricade, right?
Yeah.
We've got the Stolber hillside into the no-lean pathing and then just bridges.
Yeah, so it does look like quite a few teams are opting to go for a wide eastern wrap, and I think that's probably the smartest play, right? LG already came from that area. They know that it's going to be clean, especially because no one else really was hedging their bets on that north side, at least because there was kind of no reason to, right? A lot of this circle was quite southern, so you do see LG going that way. You also see E-Arena trying to rotate that way. Petrichor will probably follow, as well as Tyloo. So a lot of teams now opting to rotate on that east side as the south is completely packed up, Matt.
Oh, this is going to be a symptom of what we're watching for a while. A couple of teams now making the commitment in to just defend up the fields around Yasnaya itself, as 4AM is going to make a recommitment back into there. LG is going to path up into Stolber itself. You can kind of see them driving off in the distance. Esports Arena going to be doing the same. Petrichor Road is going to be coming in off of this DDT pathing right in front of them, so they have to be a little bit careful. LG, yes, is kind of along that pathing into no lean where D plus Key is playing from, but they want the hillside. They don't want no lean, so they're just trying to bypass this.
Yeah, they should be able to take a nice position here in the north. Again, as you said, there's no reason for them to send it into no lane. They should be able to see that D plus Key has already taken that position. And E-Arena, though, that's actually what I worry about when it comes to LG, is watching that north side crunch coming in from E-Arena.
As we're keeping our eyes today, we also have to remember, we kind of alluded to it and talked about it in some degrees, and then the desk went way deeper in depth for us with it. But the Twisted Minds, Expendables, Na'Vi 17 situation that we're kind of looking up at the top, most notably Twisted Minds, the Expendables, Na'Vi, massive amount of points. So oddly enough, TE taking 3 casualties early is going to open up some more opportunities for these teams to try to move up more and get away from that cusp position, or at least get into the top 8.
I mean, TE, they've fortunately given themselves quite a nice cushion, especially with back-to-back wins yesterday, right, in order to afford a kind of travesty game, which that pretty much was, right? Going out in 16th with only 1 kill is not great at all, but, you know, at 59.60 now, they're going to be just fine. So not the end of the world, and I do believe they might even still have 1 member up somewhere, right?
Yeah, they've got Tanvu that's
so
kind
they
of
still have Tanvu. He actually managed to survive that, so they'll be able to salvage points, not the issue. It's actually a benefit for the rest of the lobby that Twisted Minds, that Na'Vi, and the Expendables as well have gotten so many points, because it just, again, leaves the door open for all those teams that are currently struggling to just have one big good game, get the points that aren't being sponged up, and actually shoot themselves up the lead.
We saw the lowest points per game average requirement to make it into the winners bracket that we've seen in a
like
very
60
I want to say, I don't know if it was ever, but it's been in a very, very long time, and that's just due to how strong the teams at the top were in their dominance and making it to where, okay, there was just nothing that you could get. So a mediocre game was enough to kind of give you that last little push in. And the way that we're seeing the lineup here, I don't know if we're going to see the same. It is just so compacted in there. If you wait until that stage, that last game is just going to be so nerve-wracking.
It also does depend, you know, if those teams at the top continue to do well, again, they're just going to...
Let's shift to the north, and then let's shift to the west.
So Game of PT actually has a really nice position here, really nice split. I don't think they're going to be able to actually keep that split for much longer. They do need to consolidate, but even looking at Little Ghost, right, for 17, they've actually got a foothold on the other side of this. They can actually have a nice little camp if they want to on that bridge. And we also see Tyloo on the south side, but Friendly Fire going right through it. Na'Vi as well going for Yas gas station.
This is going to be big. We've got a couple of big movements that are going to be coming out. Petrichor Road is going to be pathing around the north, trying to wrap in. At the same time, D plus Kia and LG are making their shift. Friendly Fire was under a bit of fire of their own and had to retreat, get back underneath of this bridge. Not the worst place to play playing from. While Na'Vi shifted off of Yasnaya Bridge, bypassed 4AM, also got some shots coming at them from Forest, so having to shift to the south pretty close to them. We have Daytrade that's going to be coming in as well. DDT on this pathing, but Na'Vi in this dip has a lot of control and vision. They just have to be careful, as there are a couple of people on that opposite side and that hillside that can see them.
Na'Vi would love to actually get much more aggressive on this, but they can't, as now it's going to be Daytrade pulling up right on the other side of Friendly Fire. For the time being, they need to get this knocked. The nade went out.
Oh, there's not a lot of places to be dancing around over there. Can we see Friendly Fire dodge away from it? They're playing a very tricksy set of positions, specifically using the verticality of the bridge to make it very hard to get naded. This is a good read coming up from them.
And as I said, Na'Vi would love to pour over and get the damage onto this fight, but they can't, and that's because of the fact that 17 Gaming is holding the angle off on them. So this is actually a big benefit for Friendly Fires. We also see DD Team fighting in the forest here just to the southeast.
And this has got some vision on what's going on with the Sarvum Na'Vi positioning, but they've got their own problems that they're going to have to be dealing with as DDT does want to move into this. Mamu is still playing back behind the rest of the squad, but they're just slow walking down into this, letting the nades open up the doors, slow and steady, kind of wins the race. Baron Peak's going to have to make sure that he defends this peak pretty efficiently as Gold just running right into the thick of it. Oh, this emergency pickup.
Yeah, they had actually put that pickup down so early, and I don't know about this. I mean, they had a decent position to play here. They could have actually flexed out trying to take over this hill, but they opted to just try to emergency pickup. They lose one for free, and now I think they have one member in the sky somewhere.
It does. It's going to be Baron Peak who gets away and is going to be going over there next to GP. And the other two members now kind of trapped in a very outnumbered situation, but Mamu kind of saw that and retreats.
Don't like that.
I don't know, with all the smokes and everything like that, how efficiently DDT could see what was going on there.
I also don't like that either, though.
I think that they thought this was more open and that more people took that pickup.
Yeah, again, a mistake from both teams here, a misplay, if you will, as DD Team now will lose one for free, and now they're just down to a two-man. All of a sudden, Sarvum might actually be able to hold that, but on the other side, it's actually going to be 4EM flexing out of the Yas gas station now, trying to get these points out from DD Team.
It's no surprise. This is such a strong hillside in this circle. While they do have themselves a good foothold, they've left managed. It's going to be Xiao Lu back over at the gas station to make sure that nobody takes it. Now then they can kind of harass. DDT doing a good job on counter-moving away from this, using the opposite side of the hillside. Mamu, who's now come up to reinforce. Spaceman's job is going to be the one to hold back 4AM, but this is really, really weird if you're DDT, is you're coming into this where you thought you had a ton of information. Now you don't rightfully know how much information's gone out. You saw the emergency pickup. You probably at least saw one get yanked away, but you don't know. At this point, you have to assume, okay, there are two that have shot. Are all three here and we just missaw it? Did we just see that wrong?
That's also keeping track of the kill feed, though, right? They should have known that. I mean, especially when you only see two members go up, and when you knock one, you should know there's at least one, if not two, still left in that dip. So again, a little bit of a misplay, though. It's not the end of the world. They will still have two up, and as long as they can get rid of Sarvum here, they might be able to make some sort of rotation, but I don't know where. The east side is completely locked down by 4EM, as they should be able to take that bridge and play underneath it. You also have Friendly Fire on the other bridge still holding that position, and Na'Vi comfortably, now that 17 is harassing them much less, will be able to make something happen there, as Spaceman will find second last member of Sarvum.
Yeah, he's opened up the Space Global Army, trying to fend up, does manage to take down Spaceman, but here comes Mamu himself, prepped up, throwing down the utility, trying to use his teammate for a bit of cover as he's going around the peak zones, but it's going to be Na'Vi, it takes the shots in, and everybody dies. There are no winners in this firefight.
Nope, there definitely weren't. Now as we start seeing some of these teams move into position, I am looking at Friendly Fire as well, because they've stayed on this bridge for so long, down to just two members. Tai Lu now coming and trying to take this position, because they're still not even in circle, Matt. This is a fight just to get in.
This is a really hard way to have to try to throw needs, and you have to cook it, and you're on perfectly. Sharp Shot needs to get that knock on to Shin, just can't quite do it. 755 is down, and Friendly Fire still just handling the fact that they've got Tai Lu right up on top of them. The issue is also for Tai Lu, don't forget Na'Vi is just off on that hillside, so that's the reason why Tai Lu had to move into this. It's almost like Friendly Fire pulled them down into the muck of the river with them, and it's like, no, if you want to fight, you're going to have to fight here, because you have to get away from Na'Vi, and this is somewhere we already have crazy fortified.
And this is such an awkward place to fight as well, not only with other teams taking shots at you, as we see it's going to be Na'Vi pouring over to take shots over and kick Sharp, excuse me. But it's also just under that bridge, there's so many weird angles, especially when you're fighting from one side to the other. It can be very difficult. Friendly Fire doing their best. They've managed to get 4 kills at least, but now it's just down to Page.
While this has been going on, 4AM also shifted to this side of the river. They've been hearing what's going on with this firefight, now starting to take some shots into Na'Vi, as you can see pop off inside the kill feed. That does mean that Na'Vi is going to have to shift some of their attention away from this firefight. Shin's going to jump inside the water. Page is heavily distracted right now. He's really just trying to use the curve of that like little rampart, the supports. I don't think that Page saw it. He should have an idea in second, though, and that's just going to be a peek coming up from Shin. Quick exchange, and Friendly Fire is going to get eliminated. Tai Lu makes an aquatic approach and gets away with it.
Might even be able to get up Zhao Yang, so yeah, great on Tai Lu there to kind of dispatch Friendly Fire. They still do have to deal with 4AM as well as Na'Vi, so congratulations on winning that fight. They will have a barely a foothold as Na'Vi is so well aware that they're coming up and they're in a very bad position.
You can see 4AM still trying to stretch down, doesn't have the best vision into what Navi's going to use. They're using the clefts in the hillside. Oh, going to have to jump back down. Probably going to go ahead